start this meeting. This is April 16th, 2025, regular board meeting of the Crystal Lake Township
You want to
Board.
say that one more time?
Oh, no. April 16th, 2025. Please rise and join me for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. And roll call when you're ready.
Webber,
Here.
Marble,
Here.
Ferris,
Here.
Van Meter, here.
Thank you, and Bright. Not quite yet here. We have an agenda before us. Are there any amendments to the agenda?
Yes,
Let's go.
add the environmental committee between cleanup day and legal,
Thank you.
and the resolution for the airport compensation.
And that's under financials, I think, please. Airport rep.
Yeah,
All right, with those two amendments, I move that we approve the agenda as amended. Do I have a second?
I'll second you.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. Minutes are next. Let's take the special, no, not the special one, the regular one of March 19th. Quite, 9
conflict
pages
of
long.
interest declaration.
oh, am I not reading things again? Yes. Is there any interest of declaration of a conflict of interest at this time?
No,
Thank you. Minutes. I'm gonna go ahead then and just move that we,
just a minute, there is one here.
Judy.
one error in your own minutes.
You found one too?
Page
No.
2,
Page 2, where?
where it says public comment continued. Continued needs to be crossed out. That's from February when we were in public
Oh, how
comment,
could
then we
you.
weren't, and then we. You know,
Okay,
that's the only one.
with that one amendment to the minutes,
That
doesn't
even.
March 19th, I move that we accept the minutes.
I second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those in opposed. Next one are the minutes of a special meeting on April 1st. I shall go ahead and move that we accept as presented. Second,
I'll second, yeah.
okay, any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed. Thank you. Next one.
Yes.
Moving right along here, we have, yes, sure. Stacy, you're up.
All right,
Now come along over here. Even though you are speaking to us, the
Okay.
audience really wants to hear you.
But also
Okay.
speak up so that,
am I on camera?
yeah.
Yes, you are.
Introduce yourself.
I'm Stacy Pasche. I am the director of the Benzie Shores District Library here in Frankfort. I'm happy to report that we had over 39,000 visits to the library last year. We circulated 46,610 items last year and continue to have the highest circulation in the state for a library of our size.
Wow, that's so great.
It's not a contest. And we're getting a new website. I hope to have it live by Memorial Day weekend, so it should, look nicer and also, fulfill all the ADA compliance that we need as a government entity. But we get a lot of, I didn't know the library did that, reactions to a lot of our newer programs and services. One thing I like to get the word out is the public space. We have a meeting room that accommodates about 40 people, big program room. That's for public use, so as long as the library's not using it, you can reserve that room. Same with our meeting room, which accommodates about 10 people, so if you just need spaces to meet, try the library. We also have Mahjong on Monday afternoons. Apparently that's a big thing because people find out that you're really excited. So if you want to play Mahjong, come see us on Monday afternoons at 1:30. And we now have a we call it like hook, needle, knit circle on Mondays at 4:30. So you can either learn to crochet with somebody who's there, who's willing to teach, or bring your own project and just stitch and chat. Good times. Popular summer reading program will return in June. This is the first year we are actually operating a summer reading program for adults, I think with prizes as well. So the community really comes out and donates all those prizes for our programs, and it's nice to see the community support and of course the excitement that people who participate. We continue to have a successful partnership with the Frankfort Elementary, and we were recently awarded a $100,000 grant from the Sally Gruzowski Foundation to upgrade the elementary school library. So as part of our partnership with the school for the last 5 or 6 years, we did what's called a publication audit, where we checked to see the age of the books in the school library. The average age was published in 1998. So the whole thing just needs to be replaced with books that actually match the curriculum and support what the teachers are actually teaching. So that's going to cover all the processing of the new books, the cataloging of the new books, help with professional selection, meaning that they have teachers that will go make sure that the books are supporting the collection or supporting the curriculum. Okay, so that was good news. Bad news, you may have seen or heard about the executive order to eliminate the Institute for Museum and Library Services and wondered what that might mean for local libraries. Local library funding is local. It's generally, our operating budget is all paid by the taxpayers of Crystal Lake Township and Lake Township, Gilmore, Lane, and City of Frankfort. What it means if IMLS goes away, or some of the services that we offer are shared services through the Library of Michigan. So they basically, those federal funds go to the Library of Michigan, the Library of Michigan decides how to best support libraries with it. If you're familiar with MELCAT, that's the statewide resources sharing that we have. We can borrow books, movies, anything from anywhere in the state. That's only funded through September. So it's professional development, that kind of stuff. So if you do hear of that, just rest assured that the local library is fine, our operating budget is fine, staff are gonna get paid. It's just services and professional development are gonna get a little tricky about those funds. And speaking of funding, our budget hearing is scheduled for Wednesday, May 28th at 9 a.m. And we meet, the board meets the second Wednesday of the month at 9 a.m. and you're always welcome. My door is always open as well. Thank you so much for having me.
I have a question.
Yes.
How is 39,000 visits compared to last year?
It's roughly about the same. I think it's slowly, since COVID dropped everything off, we've been slowly getting back up, like maybe at about 2% a year.
Okay.
Of just more and more people. The expansion really helped too, because it brought in a lot of people that haven't been in the line for years and they're just kind of whoa.
Who's Sally Guzkowski that's funding the?
So Sally
Elementary.
Wazowski is, it's a foundation, the family, when she passed away, the family made a foundation in her name. They are, Lake Township, they split their time between Crystal Downs and Chicago. And that's, they love the library and they just wanted to do something to help the community. Yeah, it was, it's very, very generous, very, very needed.
Thank you. Any questions from the audience?
How many people will your public room fill? You mentioned the other room holds 10.
The big program room, 40. Yes, especially with the fire chief.
It's really good, everything you do. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Okay. Hubert. Not here.
That's weird.
Yeah, Rebecca Hubers was supposed to be here, so maybe she'll be here a little later. So we can interrupt whatever we're doing and. The next thing would be correspondence, and we have one letter from Brian and Sandra Holliday, who are supporting the tower, construction of the tower, and saying that there is another side to all this that allows for great coverage, which is needed. So if you want a copy of anything that we're doing, it's on the website, and also you can ask for a hard copy and we'll give it to you. Next, after that is a county commission report. The county commissioner is not here today, but she did submit this report. And again, is there anything on the report, folks, that you want to bring to anybody's attention? I just thought it was probably stuff that I'd already heard and knew about from reports. All right, so we thank her. It's quite a long report, and if anybody wants to read it, again, we can have copies for you. Fire and rescue is next, Mike?
Couple things I want to touch on. You've got a copy of my report.
Yep.
I'm going to give you a little updates as of this moment. Right now, there were 7 EMS calls in April and 1 fire that we had called down power line. You've got the first responder contracts. Apparently, I see that on the agenda. Training today, a group of us attended a 4-hour Zoom presentation on aviation accidents, emergency responder training, how to handle a plane crash, several things. Cessnas, we learned about pipers, we learned about how to shut everything down so that it doesn't catch fire, so how to do evacuation, get people out of the back, and what to look for, how to preserve the scene for the FAA and the National Transportation Authority. It was a 4-hour Zoom. It was fun. They had people from all over the world. We had Puerto Rico and everything popping in, so it was great. So we attended that and picked up some good information on what we need to do. I also can download the 148-page FAA accidents. What do you need to do? So. Equipment and building, going through that, some couple updates. Our onboard compressor on our 4-inch or our 4 heavy rescue quit. So that's now on order for replacement. And the battery backup controls for the ladder truck, which we used out here, that went bad, so I got battery replaced, but there's something not quite right, so I'm having the mechanic take a look at that ladder truck and find out what's happening with the wiring here. So, last night at the township board meeting, get into community risk reduction. You've got all my handouts. Thunderstorms, we got a nasty one coming next couple of days, so they're predicting. Let's see if it happens. Emergency preparedness kit and pet emergency preparedness checklist. I think was in your hands. Something to be aware of, because pets are important. Some freak out. And then one of the things that we talked about last night at under community, I proposed to the city council to adopt Mavis. Now, I don't know if you've ever heard of Mavis or not. Mutual aid box alarm system is a statewide, actually 4 or 5 statewide program that utilizes box alarm systems. For example, when the tornado hit up in Gaylord, Chief Deming at the time was not signed up with Mavis, didn't really like Mavis, signed up with Mavis, and within less than 35-40 minutes, they had like 25 trucks headed north on I-75 from downstate. So what that does is it gives me additional resources. If I need resources, I've got them statewide. Well, I would be part of Division 3701, which is Leelanau County. Actually, Elmira's part of it. Inland's part of it. Thompsonville just joined. All of Leelanau County, all of Grand Traverse County, Kalkaska, Antrim, Otsego, Roscommon, Wexford, they're all Mavis. So I'd have those resources coming within a phone call to activate them. So then they don't send everybody. They just give me the resources and what I need, which is nice. And what's also good is that'll help on your ISO rating, because they ask, do you have for your insurance, do you have a lot of responding agencies? Or you're part of a group or agency? Yeah, Mavis is that agency.
How the council receive it?
No problem at all.
Okay.
No problem. They all passed it. No, they had some questions because they thought we were starting a division. I said, no, I'm actually joining a division. So that was clear that up. But for the most part, it went through really well. The nice thing about it is I'm also now have access to the USAR, which is Urban Search and Rescue Task Force 1 down around the Detroit or Lansing area, they're part of this Vegas as well, along with hazardous materials technicians teams that can come up here at any time if I request it.
That is so fantastic, because not every, especially small area, can have all that expertise.
Well, that's exactly what Pat Parker, the previous fire chief of Metro, told me. Says, you don't know what you've done for your small city. You've actually multiplied the response rate that you can get exponentially, which, I know that's what they would do. They've been after me to do this for a while, so I got it going. So Mavis going, then also some of the community relations over there. On April 8th, we had I believe our pre-4th of July parade, pre-planned. Yes, we get things ready to get that up and going and hammered out some of the things that we'd like to, be doing this year. And get Mark and Brianne up to speed because they've never done the plan. So Rob was always pretty much ran at the most of it. So they basically said it's all yours, or Rebecca would say, here, you would do this, and Rebecca said, I'm out of it, and Rob says, I'm retiring, and it's like, oh, Mike, you're the only one that knows, so here's the plan, figure it out. So I had everybody get together, we hammered out what everybody's responsibilities would be. On April 17th, tomorrow, I'm gonna have a lockdown drill at the high school. And then on the 23rd, talking about the elementary school, I'm gonna be meeting with Ann Gwaltney. Every year I do a presentation for the elementary school on summer safety presentation, and those cover topics such as water safety, sun safety, dehydration, bug safety, watch out for them ticks, fire safety, including the 4th of July, touch on staying away from sparklers around hot, they're about 1,000 degrees, and bicycle safety. So I've changed the design of, because if you do it every year, the kids are smart. They'll look at you. I saw that last year. So you got rearranged it. So I rearranged it a little bit and I'm representing it to them, and Ann's gonna preview it. So she says, oh, that's kind of out of that age group. We'll take that slide on out. So I've kind of created the K through 2nd and then the 3rd through 5th grades to.
Unlike the adults who wouldn't remember what you showed us.
They're sharp, we did this last year. And the happy notes is as we start to experience the rapid spring and all this weather swings, which we've had snow, rain, warm weather. It's humbling to see the dedication again of this fire department. I had somebody come up to me last night, was you're full time? No, we're not full time. I says, well, you're there. I said, yeah, we're here. A lot of it's volunteers. And no matter how snowy, rainy it is, nasty outside, these people come day and night, and they show up to do what they have to do. And he thanked me for that, and I know you appreciate that. So, that's what my team does. Those are one of those little blessings I was talking about. So,
Nice blessing.
yes, it is.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Any questions from the audience?
Hey, Mike, just wanted to say thanks again for putting our flag up. There's no way we could have done that.
Hey, it was fun, ladder training.
Yeah.
And that's when that battery started misbehaving, and all of a sudden I was in the basket and was going, okay, and I'm hanging on. All right, get it fixed. That's what we're working on.
Thanks, Chief. Thank you very much.
Excuse me then?
Yes, you gotta take something with you, though. I didn't make those for nothing.
I will take one with me. Thank you.
So, good, okay, thank you very much, Mike. Next one is public comment.
We have the contract.
Oh, gosh, I'm so glad you keep on.
I have motions ready.
Okay. Go ahead, go for it.
I'll let Greg sit down first.
Oh, hi, Greg.
Hi, Greg.
We're on fire contracts.
Do you want me to just make the motions? I make the motion to accept the contract for 12 months of fire department services between the city of Frankfort and Crystal Lake Township for the sum of $127,412 to be paid in quarterly installments beginning April 1st, 2025.
I support. Any discussion?
Glad to have them.
Yeah, lovely. Go ahead and take roll call when you're ready.
Van Meter, yes. Marvel,
Yes.
Webber,
Yes.
Ferris,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
I make the motion to accept the contract for 12 months of medical first response services between the city of Frankfort and Crystal Lake Township for the sum of $41,422 to be paid in quarterly installments beginning April 1st, 2025.
I second. Any discussion? Roll call when you're ready.
Marvel,
Yes.
Ferris,
Yes.
Webber,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Van Meter, yes.
Well, Mike has left, so, my, thing that I made a note for myself is that I wanted, consensus permission from the rest of the board to write a letter of appreciation to the city of Frankfort for Mike, and how much we appreciate being part of the, being able to buy into their services, and, so may I sign that from the board?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? And yes, you did get the idea that they put up the flag for it. They also did that at a different township. They don't have to be doing that for us. They just do it to be nice, so. Public comment is next. Anyone in the audience wish to speak at this time?
I had a question about the public comments.
Sure.
It's two places on the agenda, and like, is the first one supposed to be more about the agenda and the second one just anything, or?
We have not specified that.
Okay,
A lot of townships and governments do.
so you don't care.
I don't care at this point.
All right.
If you want to have anything you want to talk about, you go right ahead.
I'll See if I want to say something.
Okay. And by the way, that's Joe Gentle. You know that. Okay, Lindy?
Just a reminder that this Saturday at 1 o'clock, the Crystal Lake Community Business Association has its annual Easter egg hunt. And it's in the park right behind Watson dealership, 1 o'clock. There are 1,000 eggs. So bring your kids.
How's the weather that
Yours
day?
Truly, it's going to be the rabbit. I won't tell the boys.
And after that happens also, there's a hot dogs, free hot dogs with lessons going on at the pavilion. Joint forces, our church has joined with the Crystal Lake Community Association. And we have hot dogs and blessings afterwards.
Wonderful. All right,
Thank you.
Sure.
Eric Van Dusen, in February, the board voted to settle a lawsuit by Johnny McCall against the township and Miss Ferris for $20,000. And in addition, Benzie County voted for their deputies' liability to also settle for $20,000 in that lawsuit by Johnny McCall. And that whole lawsuit originated out of Miss Ferris attempting to enforce a fireworks ordinance a couple years ago down on 7th Street Beach. And I don't know what changed since then, but I think you should all take it as a learning experience maybe and make a board policy to not allow a unilateral board member to attempt to enforce those types of police ordinances, because all it does is just ripe for disaster. What occurred there, I won't get into all the facts, but ultimately Johnny McCall was arrested when Miss Ferris was sticking a phone in his face and he swatted it out of her hand. And he was arrested for an assault, an alleged assault. He went to trial and it was Miss Ferris testified against him, saying he assaulted her. The jury found him not guilty within 5 minutes. And I understand you had qualms about paying out 20 grand for that lawsuit, but ultimately there was some liability there. Subsequent to that, I submitted a FOIA request on February 27th after you settled that for all attorney invoices pertaining to that litigation, and your FOIA coordinator issued a partial denial indicating, quote, the township's insurance company provided its attorney for the McCall versus Benzie County et al. Case. As a result, we did not receive attorney invoices. I'm sure you've all received my appeal. I think it's on your agenda under legal for attorney FOIA memo. That FOIA appeal that I submitted requesting that you reverse your denial for those attorney invoices. In a nutshell, is arguing that just because your agent is holding documents that you own effectually, they are in your possession, regardless of whether or not your attorney submits them directly to your insurance company. Both your insurance company and your attorney are your agents, and you effectively own those documents. I don't know what your attorney's memo said on this, but I provided multiple opinions from the Benzie County Circuit Court indicating that attorney invoices are subject to FOIA. And I also cite it's called Bisbo versus the City of the Village of Clarkston, where the Supreme Court found that documents requested that were prepared, owned, in the possession of, or retained in performance of an official function. They found that the city attorney sending communications to other third parties were subject to FOIA. So that was a 2020 Michigan Supreme Court opinion. And I will also let you know that I submitted an identical FOIA request to Benzie County for their attorney invoices and representing them in that litigation. And they forthwith provided that attorney invoice from their attorney for their part of that lawsuit with no redactions. On March 14th, they provided those to me. So this FOIA appeal requires you within 10 business days of receiving that, but you received it before your last meeting.
Okay, you got about 20 seconds left.
So you have to make a decision. And your decision, you sit as an appellate board over your FOIA coordinator's denial. And you all need to take a vote on, I'm assuming that's what your attorney's memo says, on whether or not you're going to overturn that appeal or whether or not you may want to, I'm not making a threat here, but engage in further litigation in circuit court over this issue. So that's the decision you have to make. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public? Okay, public comment is closed. Financials is next.
That's me. Yep. General fund has $961,442 approximately. Our cemetery is sitting at $100,000. Fire fund's got $257,000 and road fund has $757,000 and tax fund is at about $50 because it's all gone out. Financials, we are moving forward with converting to BSNA. We are months out. It will not happen till November. So we're changing from QuickBooks to BSNA, but there is a timeline and a lot that's going to happen. And Judy and I can hardly wait for it to happen, but we've got a long way to go. And the full reports are available and I'll talk to anybody about them if you have any questions.
We're in pretty good financial shape.
I'd say so.
Any questions? Next would be the warrant report.
I make a motion to accept the warrant report as presented.
That's a first.
I know.
Do you want to read down each?
Sure. General fund total is $17,866.11. Cemetery fund expenses total $57.38. And fire fund expenses are $37,121.25. And those are for the fourth quarter fire and EMS services.
For a grand total of,
We don't ever have a grand total.
oh, I'm sorry, I thought they're, all right, you're right,
Just each fund.
okay. And so do you want to take it all
Yes.
at this point? Yes, okay.
Yes. I made the motion to accept it as presented.
I second it.
Okay.
Any discussion?
Nope.
All right,
Looks reasonable.
roll call when you're ready.
Weber.
Yes.
Ferris.
Yes.
Van Meter, yes. Marble.
Yes.
Right.
And then we have the addition, the amendment, which was tweaking the compensation for the representatives we've named to represent our county, or excuse me, our township on the airport authority.
You want me to explain it?
Sure. Okay.
when I started looking at how we were gonna process payroll on the two of the airport people getting the $500 compensation, it'd be really difficult to do it the way I set it up. So I'm backing it out and saying we're gonna pay per meeting instead of the $500 a year. Because that way, if you don't attend a meeting, you're not getting compensated for it. So I wrote a resolution and my editor fixed it for me. And so we are withdrawing the first resolution we had on 319 that I wrote incorrectly and rescinding that. And we are saying, therefore be a resolved, the board resolution 319-25-005 be rescinded and representatives to the FCCAA will be paid $40 per meeting attended. Yeah. Okay, I so move.
I second.
Any discussion?
Should
Go ahead and roll call then.
Van Meter. What? Do you have discussion? Okay. Van Meter, yes. Marvel,
Yes.
Wright,
Yeah.
Webber,
Yes.
Ferris,
Yes. That motion is declared passed. Anything else? Yes,
Yes, David, what do you think about that?
sure.
I didn't know I got paid. I'll take it.
Is that what you were expecting, Greg?
No, I didn't know, but you can say.
Next on the agenda is the airport, and we have a report. I don't think we need to go over it line by line. Any questions about the report?
No, I attended a meeting, it's very good.
And then, we do have, discussion.
We do, I'll try to keep this brief. A few weeks ago, we met with Katie Zeitz from the county and representatives from the city to talk about whether we would go into a memorandum of understanding, rewritten, updated with the three parties involved in it. And our attorney advised that the draft memorandum of understanding, no. So we communicated, Judy communicated with the mayor and with Katie Zeitz, and we have not heard back. Judy just wrote them and said, at this time, we are being advised not to act,
not to sign the,
not to sign the memorandum of understanding
in that current form.
in that current form. And keep us apprised of how, where you are and are you moving forward. We have heard zip.
That would be from the county?
From Katie Zeitz,
Katie
county, and Joanne, you wrote them both.
Neither one of them is one for, that really doesn't get rewritten.
So at this point, as a board, we want to decide, do we want to move forward? I mean, do we support the airport as a board? That's the first question. And
That was the main direction the attorney wanted to have an answer for.
for our, as a board, do we support the airport? And I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth, but I think we do.
Yes.
Right?
That's putting words in somebody's
Okay.
mouth. You just, that's our first theoretical
The
question.
question is, do we support the airport?
It's the first question that's actually theoretical, is how I should have said that.
Yes.
Yes, because what does support mean? It could mean financial support, it could be rah, go for it. We're behind you, but we don't want money, or it could be another thing that I haven't thought of yet.
Because if we support them, then we need to move forward with drafting the MOU, seeing if the city and the county, where are they on it? Did they sign it without us and move forward? Or is it just laying on somebody's desk? If it's still a viable document that hasn't been signed, are they willing to entertain it being edited, rewritten to something that township would agree to sign? But first, we have to decide how we feel about that process. Do we want to move forward and support the airport? Because why pay an attorney to draft an MOU, work with you guys, Reagan's and Sue, on an MOU if we don't want to move forward in that direction?
So the first question is, do we support it?
Yes.
And without defining what support is, I think generally, do I want the airport to be there? I think I do.
Okay.
So if we can reach consensus on that first question.
Yes.
I mean, is there somebody that goes, I don't care whether it's there or not? I mean, that's a legitimate,
It's in our township.
It's in our township, it's our, our responsibility. I think the airport does have a viable meaning here. It does bring, it brings in tourists, it brings in money, it brings support to the community, so definitely I would do that.
I wouldn't know where one takes over the other though. It brings in money. How much does it cost to bring in that
That's the
money?
question.
But that could be part of the next step.
Right.
of-
Right.
So when I say I would agree to support it theoretically, I'm on board with that.
Okay,
Is everybody else?
I am.
okay,
I'd like to know what the public thinks.
That's a good point. At this point, the board though, I mean, we can make it a public issue as well and try to communicate.
For myself, I would say it's there. And we will support it to some extent.
Without defining exactly what that is at this point.
at this point.
And
So,
you're on board
absolutely.
and you're on board. Okay.
Okay, so then it was, do we, us as a board, give the charge to our representatives, Sue and Dave, to reach out to the city and to the county and find out where they are on the MOU that they drafted. Katie was really strong at the meeting on it and thought it was in good form and wanted it signed. So we'd like to know, where are they on it?
Okay.
Are they open to, if it hasn't been signed, are they open to it being edited and worked on, and something in Crystal Lake Township would be included in?
Okay. I would be willing to.
Got it going in.
Yes, you can.
Absolutely.
I've been working with Brooke to try.
Speak up, Dave.
David Sprague, Airport Authority. I was appointed 1 year ago. Where's my,
Yeah.
and the way I know that is because I researched 64 articles that go back to 2007 on the airport, all the controversy. And then there's one that says Jill got appointed. There's a little paragraph at the end said I got appointed.
Okay. I'll share my sign with you.
Right.
It was April 5th, 2024.
So we discussed the memorandum at the board meeting.
Okay,
And I think we all agreed it needs to be redrafted.
Yes.
And so,
so it hasn't been signed.
I don't know about the county and city.
Okay,
So I was gonna work on a new one. I haven't got it done because, you know, it was spring break and tax season and all the excuses I can come up with, but yeah, the issue is they were trying to take the original memorandum of understanding that was between the city and the county, basically create the airport authority. So there's language in there that was applicable to that. It's no longer applicable, and including if it closes, the property goes back to the city. I don't think the township, the city donated supposedly property that had been donated to them, to the airport authority, but there have been other parcels.
Since then, they've acquired lots more, yeah.
And the other thing is to somehow factor in the FAA's position on airport closings, whatever. They want to get their money back. So I don't know if the city would want to take it back. It comes with a $3 million bill. So anyway, all that needs to be in there somehow. And So I'm gonna take the run at it. And then we can send it to the other two.
And send it to our attorney
Yeah,
after you take a run at it.
yeah,
Okay.
The county started it by saying, we're gonna give it to our attorney. That's the first version that came up. Then they sent it to the city of Frankfort, whose attorney tweaked it. And that's where we are right now, I think. But, I think that, members of the authorities, such as Dave, have suggestions on what to do. We had suggestions when we, or at least we had suspicions that there were places that need to be tweaked. So that's the thing that you're gonna be working on. And you're saying that the authority already said they agreed it couldn't be the way it is.
Yeah, we had a very lengthy conversation regarding it, and
Okay.
I understand too that it's not written correctly. Okay, good, because it's taking on some of the original information when the city gave the property to this area before the airport. Then the county got involved and then we eventually became part of it, and it's not right. I mean, the city technically could take the property back, and what, if they did, they'd get everything that goes with that. So they're not gonna wanna do that.
And you guys are already ahead of
I
the,
think the original one has language in it, because it hadn't been done yet. That the city will transfer it by quitclaim deeds and the buildings by whatever. And that appears in the new draft book. That doesn't belong in there, so, but it just needs to be reworked.
well, and originally the attorney didn't want us to sign any MOU because the status of the township is in the bylaws, and it is. There's a good portion of what's in the MOU already in the airport authority bylaws. So why do a MOU in the first place?
It's a good question, and that's what I guess we're gonna charge these folks with figuring out and coming back with us to.
and you couldn't have two better detailed people looking at this.
Well, it's detailed, but I just kind of sit there.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, and the township's attorney said basically it wasn't enforceable.
And it was contradictory also, so,
Good, then you guys already are ahead of what are, but I would like to know if the city or the county have signed that
I
they,
don't think they have.
You would have heard back.
well, do you have a certain, number of steps that we'd like them to?
they've got it, they just repeated it back to us. Sue's gonna find out if they have signed it, what the status is, and the two of them are gonna take a stab at the MOU.
And, anything else? And we are in consensus that, we're charging them with those two steps.
Guys good with that?
Yes.
So, okay,
Thank you, team.
that's our discussion.
I'll call the city and I'll call the county and find out where they're at with that.
Yeah.
And then, we can get together and go over it. Yeah.
Good, go team airport.
Thanks, guys. Yeah.
Thank you for recognizing my 1 year of service. I'm telling you that I'm very
But you got more work to do, you're welcome.
The next is Blight. Do you wanna, Sue, say anything?
Well, yes, actually, our Blight Committee has been meeting pretty regularly on Thursdays at 3 o'clock, which we are meeting tomorrow to
Yes.
identify the properties. Our very first letter went out, you may have all received it by now, it was.
The last batch just went out today.
Okay, it was a very well written letter, just kind of letting people know that we are serious about what we want to do, but we also want to be very helpful in any situation where we can be. The second letter is what we call a soft letter. We already have some property identified that is definitely blight. So we will be sending the second letter out to these people, and it will be going out next week after we pick out who and what properties they are. And that letter is a soft letter. It's basically saying, we've identified your property that you are, in conflict with the zoning, but we would like to be able to help you. So please contact the office so that we can sit down and make a plan of how this can be taken care of. And we figure that most of the people may contact us, family members could contact us. But we do know we have a couple of properties that are going to be a little bit more difficult than that. Well, we have to address it now. And then the next step after that, if they do not reach out to us and we do not get a plan started, then we will begin to step step 3, and that is sending the use of our Ellen to make delivery of notices that it has to be done. So. But
Thank you.
we're working on it. We really seriously want it. And then another thing too is that, you know, it is the responsibility of the township individuals. If you know property that's in your neighborhood that we are not aware of, there is a very easy way that it's right on our website. It's anonymous. You just send out a form identifying where the property is so that we can come and take a look. See if it's something we need to take attention to. So thank you very much.
Any questions on the board?
Well, I want to add to the blight letter, short-term rental letter went also in our little packet and a flyer about the watershed, Crystal Lake watershed. I'm really excited to work with Elaine Walton on the short-term rental stuff, and we are really kicking it off. Yay, yay, okay.
And there were 2 very important letters.
Two very important.
One was in white, one was in green. Green is a very soft color. What we want it all to look like when we're done. It's in green.
Next is the cemetery. You've got a resolution in front of you. We originally in the cemetery ordinance dated 2021, we said that you had to sell back your cemetery plots that you didn't want to use anymore back to the township, and that stays. But we said that we were only going to give them back the money that was originally paid by their grandparents or themselves or whomever. And sometimes that's like $2. Whereas now, if you're a non-taxpayer, you're paying several thousand times that. So, so we decided we would come up with some formula. Not sure if this is, you know, the best formula, but it's the best one we came up with. So, based on wanting to give the owner back money that would make it worth their while to sell it back, and also worth our while to buy it back, because developing and cutting down more woods costs more than buying back all the unused. And you wouldn't believe how many people, when they originally buy a plot, they think, I am the matriarch or the patriarch of a great clan here, and there's gonna be my family for generations, and then there's probably, you know, half an acre still unused 100 years later. So that's the purpose of this. So therefore, let it be resolved that all sellbacks will be based on the original price. We start with the original price that they paid. And then it would go ahead and with the dots down there, that's the important thing. If it was originally purchased for $100 or less, your refund would be $200 per plot. If originally purchased for between $101 and $250, the refund's going to be, or the original price plus $100, and it goes on like that. If originally purchased at $251 to $300, it would be the original price plus $50. If originally purchased for $301 and between $301 and $350, the original price plus $25 a plot. It comes down because as you got more modern plots, they cost a lot more. But in every case, it's going to be worth our while to buy it back, because we can sell it then at today's prices and try to make our budget at maintaining the cemetery. So with that, I move that we adopt the resolution.
I second it. I don't know how you came up with it. I think it's brilliant.
Well, thank you. That's very nice of you to say. Any other discussion?
Yeah.
All right.
Van Meter, yes. Right?
Yeah.
Webber,
Yes.
Ferris,
Yes.
Marble.
Yes.
All right. That motion is passed. Thank you. Any other questions about the cemetery? We had our first burial of the season already. So it was snowing, but we did it. Cleanup day. Go to this, Frank.
Every year we do 2 cleanup days for the township residents and taxpayers. This year they're May 2nd or May 10th and August 2nd. We do these cleanup events down at the Graceland lot across from the A&W and the Shell gas station down there. It's a pretty big parking lot. What we do is we'll have Jill and Sandra directing traffic into the parking lot. We form about 5 lines We have the trucks on the Lake Street side. And we just direct the vehicles up to the trucks and unload them. So the first one is May 10th. It starts at 8 o'clock in the morning, runs till 11. The second one is, I believe, August 2nd, same time frame, same location. And if you go to the website, we've got a little flyer that explains all the rules. It's all there, so. That's the cleanup day. The other thing is, that I noticed you removed from the agenda, was the short-term rental administrator's computer that we need to buy.
That's not in. Oh, we forgot to put that in there as an amendment?
It's coming up, I think.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, you're right.
What that is about is that Elaine Walton's been hired as the short-term rental administrator. And we're gonna be sharing that desk over there, but she doesn't have a computer. She needs to have Excel spreadsheets that she can track all these short-term rental licenses on. So what we want to do is give her the deputy clerk's laptop so she can take it home. Can be used in either location. And then buy another computer for the deputy clerk because she works with the election files from the state. And a lot of times they're kind of hard to read on a laptop. So we want to get her a 27-inch monitor so she can read the state election system.
Did we? Oh, there it is, right there. Okay, so, should we take care of that right now?
Let's do it.
So, let it be resolved that the Crystal Lake Township Board agrees to purchase a laptop computer,
Desktop.
a desktop. And monitor for the deputy clerk to replace her laptop. Assigned to the, which will then be assigned to the short-term rental administrator. So we're kind of upgrading Sandra and giving old hat stuff to Elaine. So I so move. Do I have a second?
You bet.
Any discussion?
I'm gonna put Sue down.
I think,
No discussion? Roll call when you're ready.
Ferris,
Yes.
Webber,
yes,
Wright.
Yeah.
Van Meter, yes. Marvel,
Yes,
Thank you. And sorry, we left that off originally.
I wanna go back to cleanup day. Sandra
Okay.
and I will be working if it's not raining. We worked last year and we were so.
you were very wet.
I was gonna say, we do provide a comedy routine at
Oh, my-
these two women.
We were frozen and
I
so.
hope it's not cold.
Our airport authority representative will also be there helping download, right?
Yep.
Thank you.
And I might.
And Elaine's cousin, have we asked Mark to help this year?
He's gone,
Is he?
going to Colorado, go down summer.
Oh,
You can try the other.
bless his little heart.
Okay,
Hugh.
Maybe Hugh will. All right, hey, I'm putting that down on my to-do list.
On
Hugh.
anyway.
okay.
Okay,
And I just wanna comment on that, is that if people call, because circumstances are beyond them, if they do have things that they need to have picked up. I will help to make arrangements to help them get it down there. I think pickup truck and a couple strong bodies and a trailer, and we could pick up these items, because a lot of, we know that there are individuals who don't have the means to be able to bring these things in. And if we want to attack a blight situation or things sitting in people's yards, if we can help them, we would be more than happy to do that. So,
My husband coming to the meeting tomorrow, he has a trailer and a truck.
yes, I know he does.
Okay, so be sure and point that out to him.
I think we've already had that
Okay.
conversation.
All right.
And I'm going to try to work on one other person, and I already got the trailer, I just need to.
Okay, good.
Get somebody to help, but I think it's just a nice offer to our community. I know there are people that want to bring their things, but if you don't have a truck or a trailer, how are you gonna get it there? So, I'll help that out.
okay,
Okay.
thanks.
You're welcome.
On to the environmental report. It's in front of you. Any questions? They're also meeting on Thursdays,
first Thursday of the month.
and doing a great job. So trying to coordinate with all the things that need to be done, awareness from invasive species to cleanup day, blight.
I had to look up rural prosperity incubator.
No,
You did, and is it in Webster's?
It is. I had well, Google knew what it was. I had no idea.
Yeah, incubators are kind of popular right now.
Okay, well, I didn't know.
Okay, so if there are any questions about the environmental report? No, okay, next is IT, which we just took care of. Legal is the attorney FOIA memo. Do you want to address this?
The last I looked, we still hadn't received anything back from the attorney.
Thank you. And the insurance payback, I don't know if you guys know this, but we have another lawsuit that's been going on for years. And this is about a zoning issue. And our insurance company, we always kind of kept it in the back of our mind that they are supposed to reimburse us. And so we actually gathered together since what year? 2021?
No, what further
No,
back than that? 19. I was down in the basement.
And thank you for digging out all the
I hope I got them all.
invoices that we had gotten, and yep.
We did, great,
Thank you.
So we got, what, almost $20,000 back.
almost 19.
And I think that was in addition to maybe 20 or 4,000 before, so
It was
closer to
great.
24,000. Okay,
Okay.
newsletter, nothing to look at.
Feedback to the, again, to direct his question about the FOIA. Are we following up again to our attorneys to see if we can get those invoices that he's requesting? Or is that? Or is he-
Attorney Weirda already sent the invoices. He was supposed to send them to our township attorney. He sent them to me. I forwarded them on to
the
our
township?
attorney. And they're studying all of the case law that you presented, and they're supposed to be sending us a memo with their opinion.
Okay,
And this morning, they said they would try and get it to me before the meeting tonight. And it didn't happen.
good. Well, thank you, because I wanted to know that. Thank you.
Newsletter, any suggestions, please get them in, because next, we'll have a draft and we'll get that
Oh
printed.
my God, then that means taxes are starting.
And then, next is road brining. You've got a application in front of you. It, says it'll cost us $790, almost $91 for the first brining application. There have been years that we've said we don't need this, but, we're back to, public did on these streets contact us and say they would appreciate it. So with your, permission, I'm gonna move that we instruct the supervisor as legal agent to sign this contract with the Benzie County Road Commission. And that we service with the brining Maple Arch, Marquette Court, Cox Road, and Esplanade. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Roll call when you're ready.
Webber,
Yes.
Marvel,
Absolutely.
Barrett,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Van Meter, yes.
All right. Next is old business, of which I don't believe we have any. New business? Public comment again. At this point, would anyone like to say anything from the audience?
I thought Chief Cederholm might say something, but the airport has, an accident exercise on May 14th.
Be louder, Dave.
Yes.
That is a tabletop. Okay,
You gotta earn that big money. we're
David
paying.
Spragan, the EMS, whatever, she probably would have talked about it. Has scheduled a simulation, but it unfortunately is a tabletop, so there won't be.
We don't have
Sirens
crash
or
airplanes
anything.
out on the real world, huh?
There's gonna be an airplane crash on a takeoff off the runway. And so they'll work it all out. And we get to sit there and watch if you want to,
Yeah. we
Okay.
got to.
but we don't get to play injured people or anything like that.
Oh,
Is that he said something about the high school?
He didn't
disaster or
talk
something.
about this one. He didn't
That's
mention it.
different than this.
What's the date?
May 14th, I believe. Oh, let me find out.
Is it a certain time?
It's May 14th, 9 to 11. Wait a minute. No. Scheduled 9 till noon. But they'll do the exercise and then they'll, at the end, they discuss everything. So
Okay.
probably the exercise will be an hour. So.
Should be interesting. Thank you. Any other public comment at this time?
Yeah, good, Joe Gentle, and, one, I just had a couple things about the airport, I don't know if I caught this right, but it's like the city donated some property for that way back in the day.
Actually, Herbert Dow, I think originally a lot of his money and his buddies developed it and then gave it to the city of Frankfort.
Just as property, it's not part, no, it wasn't part of the city though, right? Or, 'cause it's.
Yeah, it was city property.
It's not, is it contiguous? It's not contiguous with the city.
No, just like the
Oh,
little
like an
Bell's
island.
Park
Okay.
is in the middle of our township.
Oh,
The
but,
airport's in the middle of ours.
so is that park actually considered part of the city of Frankfurt?
They own the property.
Well, they own the property, but that.
It was
doesn't
never
mean-
annexed, nor was
Okay.
the,
All right, so it's still our township,
it is.
both cases,
And just like you own property in the township,
right,
except it doesn't really work that way. I mean, it hasn't, if by practice,
they have,
it,
like you said, annexed. Okay, so if the airport did go away, it could become township property or something.
and that's something we would work out.
I'm not suggesting that, but I do want to mention one other thing with the airport, you know, I've been hearing discussions during a lot of meetings, and the one thing that does bother me about it is it doesn't seem like we have any input into what happens at the airport. I mean, we have representatives, but they're officially cannot represent the township.
That's true.
And maybe that's a legal issue, and that cannot be changed, but, you know, with one person in the township, I don't like that arrangement, but it doesn't seem right, but anyway.
I learned that too. Authorities
Yeah.
are their own government. And it's like, what?
Well, I mean,
But it's true.
I suppose in essence, we have input because we have, you know, two people there, so. Even though it's not legal or technical, yeah, I suppose.
But then we would bring it back to the board, and if it's something that needs to be dealt with and the board
Okay,
votes accordingly,
then the board,
then we can go back to those
but
meetings.
still you have no control, so even the our
No,
board,
no,
yeah.
But the city has a commissioner who's also an authority member. The township now has a board member who is,
Right.
and the county says next time they have an opening. They appointed Corey, I think, who's the chairman now, when he was a county commissioner. He's no longer commissioner, but he's still on the authority. So they've said next time they have an appointment, it'll be a commissioner.
At the risk of irritating the hell out of my colleagues here, I'm gonna bring it up again. Their bylaws state that once we appoint someone to the authority, they are not to consider us, they're to consider the authority in the airport
That's what I've
first.
heard.
And
And our code of conduct allows for that. The township code of conduct.
Okay. Well,
so
that-
it's another nebulous area.
Here's one other thing that I'll bring up, if that's okay.
Sure.
This is a different topic, but I've debated for a long time whether to bring this up, I mean, years, but, it's been particularly irritating. I don't know, probably the last month in particular, that's like target practice. And, you know, I don't know if that's something that ever comes to your attention or other people talk about it. But, you know, to me, it's a lot like fireworks, you know, we have fireworks ordinance. Except this, from my standpoint, is a lot worse because, I mean, it could be any day of the year. Could be any time of day, could be like, I don't know. Anyway, it's a lot and, you know, and I know there are people that have PTSD. Our dog has PTSD, so every time it happens, you know, she hides in the corner and, you know, it's like memory of our household. So I know it does bother at least some people. And, to me, it also seems unsafe because, I mean, you have these projectiles that are lethal that can go, you know, over a mile. And, you know, the houses with 2.5 acres are quite close together. And, so anyway, I wanted to bring it up. I don't know if anything will ever happen with it, but, I think, if there were something, an ordinance, for example, it would probably make a few people unhappy, but I know in our neighborhood, it would make a lot of other people happy, that they would have to go to maybe a shooting range to do it. We're not talking about taking people's firearms. We're talking about, I think, quality of life and health and safety.
Do you know what the rules are for target practice? For shooting out, because call Alan, I'll give him your number,
Okay.
or you can call
Yeah,
him.
it doesn't sound like there are many restrictions from what my understanding is, but
There's a lot of restrictions.
Are there?
Yeah.
I would, all right, that's a good suggestion, so.
And let him walk you through what those are, and if you
Yeah.
think somebody is shooting outside of those parameters,
Right, it could be a little.
then you could,
Yeah.
you could call and
Right.
call the rap line and get somebody out there.
Those are state regulations?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I believe there are hunting rules that you cannot shoot within 150 yards of another house.
I don't think it applies to target practice,
You can't
Well, I
shoot
don't
within
know either,
500
but
feet of
there
a
are
building,
rules.
even with
out
target
there.
practice.
even with target practice. You can't shoot after dark. So let me connect you with my husband or
Right,
the
no,
local
he was-
CO, and they'll walk you right
No,
through. Yeah, and report out poaching, they'll come out, and if they think there's shooting going on that shouldn't.
And you're not the first one. We had a problem over on Blob Road. And then we've had one over on Carlson. And I really can't remember how those were resolved. So
It is loud, I know.
we will get back to you on that.
Okay, there's one other thing
You're running kind of out of time, so.
I'll bring up, and that's because this happened, last month, where there was a huge explosion. There was shooting. A huge explosion that shook our house, shook neighbor's house, and, my wife was concerned somebody got hurt, and so she called dispatch, and they said, oh, yeah, it's a legal thing, I think it's called tenite or something like that. Where they get Tenorite, where they actually put this,
Exploding targets.
right, you put this stuff in a can, shoot it, and I don't think there's any limitation on how much you put in it, but it sounds like a war zone.
Can you spell that for me?
Yeah,
Tannerite, TAN.
And apparently-
TV, I think, I've seen videos of it.
apparently it's legal, but it's crazy, because it really is like a bomb being dropped. But anyway. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Anybody else with the public comment at this time?
I do, just those exploding targets he was talking about, that Tannerite, it's designed for just put a little bit where you're shooting at, so it goes poof. But when you put a whole bunch of it together and you shoot it, it's a huge explosion. So it can shake your house for sure.
For that.
Oh, I see videos. You can Google it, you can find videos.
Okay.
So on the FOIA appeal, I understand you turn that over to your attorney. Your attorney's probably aware of this, but when you deny a FOIA, the requester has two options. You can sue the public body in circuit court, or you can file an appeal to the head of the public body, and the head of the public body is you all. The board is the head of the public body. So you're sitting as an appellate body over this. And the Freedom of Information Act at NCL 15.240 says that within 10 business days of receiving a written appeal pursuant to 1A, the head of the public body shall do one of the following: reverse the denial, issue a written notice upholding the denial, or reverse it partially and uphold it partially. But you have to do that within 10 business days of receiving it. Now, I submitted my FOIA appeal on March 21st, which was subsequent to your March meeting. And the FOIA additionally indicates that under sub 3, a board or commission that is the head of the public body is not considered to have received the written appeal under subsection 2 until the first regularly scheduled meeting of that board or commission following the submission of the written appeal. And then if the public body fails to respond pursuant to subsection 2, the person can litigate it in circuit court. So I guess what I'm letting you know is that within 10 business days of today, you have to respond to my FOIA appeal, this appellate body does, so it may necessitate a special meeting. I don't want to burden you all with that. There is another option that allows you to issue, under unusual circumstances, issue a notice extending for not more than 10 additional business days, the period with which you can respond.
Yep, we know.
So,
Thank you.
I would just say you might want to take that action right now, because I'm amenable to allowing you to make that decision at your next regular meeting instead of having to schedule a special meeting.
I think our meeting's over. It's like towards the end here, so we'll take that into
And
advisement.
I
Thank
don't
you.
think we should make a move until we hear from our attorney.
Okay.
I'd like to ask Eric,
Sure.
can you tell us why it's so important for you to have the attorney's fees?
The invoices, really the purpose of the requester isn't relevant, but I'll tell you, it's because I like to review attorney invoices because it tells, my experience, attorneys overbill municipalities, especially when it's on your insurance dime. And even though your insurance is ultimately paying up to a certain amount, you have retention funds typically that you have to put into, and sometimes they only pay up to $25,000. So I'm not sure what the status of that all is, but I'd really like to nitpick attorney invoices. It's just something that I do, and the attorney invoices from the county related to the same lawsuit has some very interesting information about how that case progressed for an entire year. And you're spending tens of thousands of dollars on an attorney, and ultimately you spend 20 grand to settle the case, but the attorneys make out like gangbusters. So that's kind of my interest. And, and whether or not, attorneys' best advice to you in these types of circumstances is to come to a quick resolution rather than being the golden goose that keeps laying the billable golden egg. Okay, that's, I guess.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other public comment at this time?
It's like a hobby.
I guess.
Board comment at this time. Let's see, Jason Barnard, Supervisor of Crystal Lake Township, was chosen to be our representative on the to represent townships and so forth on the County Tax Commission committee, excuse me. This
Not
is,
our supervisor, one of the supervisors.
and that's Jason Bernard. New laws on the website in case anybody needs a nice conglomeration of the laws recently passed by our state legislature. It's easy read. Recommend that if
There are
anybody's
several that
interested.
relate to elections.
Yes, they do. And we have what they call CERT training. Again, on the website, you can go. If somebody is not interested in being a full-blown EMS person, but still wants to be kind of like half trained to be able to help with first aid and to go along, that's what this is. CERT training, and it's available for free. And it's the 3rd and 4th of May. Again, on the website are more details. You probably know that the high schoolers have a volunteer day. And for the last several years, there's been a whole contingency that can volunteer out at the cemetery. So that's going to be May 7th, in case you ever want to come out and see what they're doing or help.
There's a lot of work out there.
Yes, there is. Congratulations again to our, and Dave. Wait a minute, I'll get your name out first. To Jill and to Dave and to Sue and to Judy. Oh my gosh, that replaced Sue. Oh my gosh. Yes, I just thank you so much for being a great board. You really, really are. So, and with that, I'm gonna adjourn this meeting.
7:14.
Thank you for coming, everybody.